everyone. I am here with my colleague Nadia Bracken. Today we're talking about collaboration and productivity tools. You wouldn't believe what's available, and a lot of it is free. Just a quick disclaimer, the views and opinions expressed are those of the speaker, yada, yada, yada. I think the DIA attendees have heard this 100 times before, so I'm just gonna skip this. Today we are pre-recorded, and we are making this highly interactive. So everybody, please get ready to have hands on keyboard, and we are going to live collaborate with you on a free tool that you can have access to immediately. Just to start, that tool is called Mural. We're putting the link in the chat, so go ahead and grab that link. It's going to ask you if you want to sign up or if you want to join as a guest. So in the interest of time, simply join as a guest. And essentially, here is the link. It's right here. I don't think you'll be able to actually type that in, so please look at the chat. So go ahead and go into Mural. And I am going to demonstrate what that looks like. Here is the Mural board. Nadia, I think Nadia, you have joined as a guest, and we're going to give a demonstration of how easy it is to collaborate. Oh, look, there's Nadia live in the Mural board. And the first thing that we want to do is tell us who you are. And the way we do this, I'm going to go ahead and show how you scroll in. It's so easy. You can move the Mural board around. Here's the first segment. Who and where are you? So go ahead and zoom into your area of the world. This is how you grab a Post-it. Nadia, were you able to grab a Post-it?
I'm doing a text box.
You're going to do a text box, okay.
Put myself here in California.
You're in California. I am grabbing a sticky note, and I'm going to put myself over here in New York. And then you double click in the sticky note. You can put your name, your company, your affiliation, your LinkedIn profile. You can change the color of your sticky note. And just so you guys know, you can create these sticky notes all you want during this session. Flip between us and the presentation itself. You don't have to just sit there and look at our slides. You can go onto the Mural board. There are actually three segments of the Mural board. Number one is who and where are you? Please tell us who you are. Please, anything else you want to say in the sticky note. Then I'm jumping ahead here, but we are going to go into a productivity tool called Trello. And please go ahead and say what you might love about Trello. So I'm going to grab another sticky note and put it here in Trello. I'm just going to zoom a little bit. We're taking a little time on this because for those of you who have never used Mural before, in 30 seconds, it's a lot to ask you to use a tool, but it is that easy. It is that accessible. And none of us are in the same organization. We can go ahead and collaborate. And we're hoping that in this experiment, you will be able to do it. So I'm just going to say, I love Trello. And I will go ahead and say more of this. And by the way, this Trello board is going to be available to you after our session, during our session and after our session. Nadia, any questions on Trello? How are you doing? Let's see what you were able to do here.
Well, I noticed that on the left, there's a couple icons that I can access, and it feels like the top one allows me to do text. There's an option to do sticky notes in different sizes. And when I put my note in California, I'm just stepping on it now. I noticed the text was quite small. So by stepping on that element, there was a menu bar that floated above it. And I know you can't see that, but I can now make the text even larger just by selecting it, like a Command A. And I don't know if you noticed,
that now.
I'm physically in California, but just for giggles, I put myself at the beach as well down here in
okay, when you get a chance,
Nadia,
the one thing I'll ask is say who you are. Say your name. Nadia in California, Nadia in the beach.
One is realistic and one is aspirational. So yeah, have fun with this, but we would love to see where you live. And so in addition to saying California, I'm now gonna edit that and just make sure that I put my name as well, Nadia. So we'll have this interactive, and if you're not able to update this right now, just we'll be talking for another 20-30 minutes, kind of pop in the background and work on this. It would be so nice to see a map of where everyone in the world is joining from. So I'm going to move on to item 2, Sheila. Why don't you walk me through how I put in a comment on the Trello section.
Oh, okay. Item 2. Sorry, I jumped ahead a little bit. Let me go ahead and zoom back out. So on the lower right is how you navigate. You can also do it, just drag and drop, and then you have this navigation pane that shows you the entire scope of it. Essentially, what you picture is a giant whiteboard, only it's virtual. So, what was your question on Trello? On the section?
Yeah, I just put a sticky note. I know that Trello is a really visual tool, so I wanted to give credit there. And when I made it, it was quite small. So I noticed that there were these little corner pieces. And when you highlight the element, I was able to expand it and make it really big so you could see what I was thinking about for Trello.
Right. Yes. And we can move it around and we can put it in different shapes. And I think that, Nadia, do you see my yellow sticky note there?
It's so little. It's hard to read.
Can you select it? Are you able to select it?
Awesome. So even though you've put this element in, I can actually edit it.
Yeah.
And this is real collaboration, Sheila. I like the tool.
It sure is. And one last thing, I just want to show on the bottom, this is my Trello board, so SM. And who's this spider here?
Yeah, I'm a little confused. Did this application automatically make me a spider? And what does that mean?
Yes. So Mural tried to make it easy for people who are joining outside of an organization. And so you have 2 choices. You can either log in, get an account, and actually join as who you are, or you can simply join as a guest. And when you join as a guest, it anonymizes you, and it gives you a little icon. So you are Nadia, and you're the visiting spider. I was once a visiting dinosaur. So it's just an easy, quick way for Mural to differentiate between the folks, all the people who are collaborating. I think they have an infinite number of animals that they will ascribe. Oh, look at that. I just saw a heart. What was that?
Yeah, I noticed to the left of my avatar that I could give you a reaction and feedback on your presentation. I really like that this is the first time I'm using the tool, but it was very easy to get in. Oh, confetti. You had me at confetti.
Okay, everybody, please experiment all you like.
What do we do here on the bottom, Sheila? What are you looking for notes on ClickUp?
Like when we get to the ClickUp segment, everybody could put notes here. If you have already used either Trello or ClickUp, go ahead and put notes in, things that you already like. You don't have to wait for Nadia and I to get to it.
Okay, this was fun. I could definitely see myself using this with remote teams to really make the meetings more engaging and high energy. I could just imagine us kind of laughing and making mistakes, and it didn't feel that intimidating. So thanks for showing me this new collaboration tool.
All right, great. And I'll be excited to see what's happening live on the day of, on June 30th. So, okay, great. So I think I'm going to get back to the presentation. What do you think?
I love it. Yeah, and we're just right at about 5 minutes in, so I think I'll hand it over to you.
All right, so we finished Mural. Hopefully everybody is there playing around and having fun. And again, we want to know what collaboration tools have you used? You don't have to restrict your comments to Trello and ClickUp and where you are in the world. Go ahead and make whatever notes or share it in the chat.
You know, what I liked about that last question was, what is something you really appreciated? Because it's so easy to think of like what we don't like when it comes to collaborating. So I think this is just a really positive way to say, like, what is it that we do like? What are we selecting for? And no tool is perfect, right?
Yes, indeed. That's for sure.
So what were those pretty pictures? Let's go on and see.
Yeah, I think we need to tell people who we are.
I get it. Yeah, I see. So maybe like a coffee chat, just kind of get to know Sheila and Nadia. Okay, so I am Nadia Bracken. I'm here in California, and I am the founder and chief experience experience officer of a clinical research networking group called GCP Cafe. You can find me every week on social media like LinkedIn or Instagram. There's a Facebook group which is active with almost 10,000 members. We do virtual coffee chats in a purpose-built speed networking platform. It's called Hopin. I'll love to show you that in the future. And we do audio-only chats 3 times a week on the social media app Clubhouse. So I'll put some links in the chat and you can find me on all the socials, but I would love to connect with people outside of this presentation. But I'm presenting today with a very good friend, mentor, and peer. Sheila, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I'm Sheila Mahoney. Some folks may know me as Sheila Mahoney Jules. I'm actually co-chairing the professional development track for the DIA annual, which is how Nadia and I came to present this session today. I'm a regulatory operations subject matter expert by training. So that's how I started in industry 25 years ago. I've had a very interesting journey since then, and where I've ended up is the startup founder of a technology platform called lifescihub.com. It is dedicated to the independent workforce in life sciences. It is future of work. It is seeking to innovate engagement with the independent workforce. And it's very, very different. It's as different. The metaphor that I use is it is Airbnb when every other option is like the Marriott or the hotel. So I'll just leave it for that. And I just want to say that I am thrilled to be here. What's funny that I'll share with the audience is that both Nadia and I are absolutely crazed with work. And we have had great challenges preparing for this, including up to the moment that we said record and this morning. And the productivity and collaboration tools that we are talking about today helped us tremendously. So we are a live use case of what we are saying today. Nadia, anything else to add to that?
I loved collaborating with you on this. But before we move on, I did want to clarify for our audience today, I actually own more than one coffee mug, but I just happened to bring the same one that was in this photograph. And I think this actually might be a good place before we go on. If it's okay, I just want to stop and talk a little bit about coffee. So
yeah.
I don't like to talk a lot about my day job because I'm so interested in the work that I do outside in the margin, in the weekends and the evenings with GCP Cafe. But the reality is I've been doing clinical operations work for 15 years, and I've worked as a consultant, which means I've needed to run my own business and come up with my own tools, but also protect the confidentiality of my clients. And so it's always a bit of a tightrope to use what's been provided for you, but also to make sure that you customize it so you can be effective no matter where you are. And here I am drinking coffee. So I think the metaphor I wanted to talk about before we get into the presentation is when I go to Starbucks, because I'm a busy person, right? I need some caffeine. I get to choose what I select, right? What am I choosing? Am I picking a latte? Am I putting syrup in it? Is it gonna have, I don't know, whipped cream, sprinkles? What is the season? And I like to think of my productivity tools like that, like seasonal drinks, because you give it a try, you see how it works. Maybe it's a little too complicated. Don't do the sprinkles. And so I don't have a standard coffee order or a standard tea that I drink. I just am always blending and making it up as I go, and I'm willing to change. And I think sometimes when our IT department gives us a tool, we feel like, oh, we better use this. We better stay in the box. And what I wanted to give people today is this idea that we can personalize our productivity and our collaboration just like we would personalize our coffee order. So Sheila, before we go on, are you drinking a specific tea or coffee this season?
Well, you know something, I don't have it in the picture, but I most certainly am. I am a tea drinker, and I love that you just shared that, because that has been my experience with you, Nadia. And part of the reason why I was so thankful that you agreed to do this, despite your incredible workload and just starting in a new position, Medidata, correct?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm super excited to join.
And this is what, week 2?
Day 5.
Day 5, my goodness. Well, amazing. So what you just shared about blending and experimenting is so true to the experience that I've had with you over the years. And what I've learned from you is an endless number of tools that I've watched you iterate and have become introduced to so many things because of your blending and experimenting and so forth. I, on the other hand, I've got a different personality. I have tea and I don't want to experiment. There is just one type of tea that I like, which is terrible because all my family, they know how much I love tea, and on Mother's Day and birthdays and stuff, they give me all this different kinds of fancy tea. I just like one. It's Tetley British Blend. I don't want to drink anything else. And that's actually how I am with tools. I don't really have a lot of tolerance for what I call the paradox of choice. Like I get very overwhelmed. So I'm a bit different. I like to just stick with one thing. And yet that's okay. Like, because if it works, it works. So yeah, that's all I had to share today about my tea and choices. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's good. Let's get moving. We're right at, I think, 15 minutes into the recording, and I'd love to hear more about the organizational costs of this productivity switching, but also, why do we need to collaborate better?
Aha, very good. So I can speak to that. So right now, the organizations are actually struggling. I struggle myself in terms of collaboration and productivity, but that struggle is amplified at the organizational level because the organization is trying to figure out tools and provide them on a mass scale. And sometimes that works, and sometimes it takes a really long time. All of this has been expedited by the fact that we are now in the digital era. There's a tremendous amount of remote work. Any given team in life sciences is usually comprised of not just folks who are within the organization, but folks that the organization is collaborating with, business partners, clients, patient advocacy groups, what have you. So the workflow that we are in is extremely heterogeneous, not homogenous, meaning that if it was only folks within the organization we had to deal with, that would be one thing. But 9 times out of 10, there's somebody outside of the organization involved. There's a tremendous amount of turnover. People are switching throughout organizations. And it's very hard for IT to keep up with that. It's, we have this idea, and security. We have, the whole WikiLeaks thing that I guess that was 10 years ago now. But in the past, the organization felt that, so long as we have everyone behind a firewall, then our data will be secure. And I believe most organizations are following that path, but that is a pale shadow of the security I think we all want to achieve. And that's an unanswered question. So we have to be mindful of that. We deal with very highly sensitive data, and that all adds challenges. And on top of that, we are being pressed for time. Few other industries have to operate on time crunches, as in the late stages of drug development. As a matter of fact, every stage of drug development and product launch is subject to enormous strain, whereby we all have to work together a lot smarter and a lot faster, and in some cases also harder. So yeah, that's and we need to be compliant. So I think the next slide is on you, Nadia, to talk about the costs of multitasking collaboration.
Yeah, this is a callback to what you just said about switching tools. As much as I love to be innovative and be new and exciting, I think real innovation is just making that super complex more simple. So it's more about what we take away versus what we add. In fact, when we're adding things at work, you've got the email and the chat window, and then there's Zoom popping up, and I think all of those alerts and reminders can go into the category of distractions. And when we are interrupted, in COVID, we've had an amplification of distractions. We have children, we have pets, and I think that kind of reset can be very, very difficult on a personal level. And when it comes to collaboration, just imagine the impact to the team if each person is being interrupted and distracted. And so you had actually said already that paradox, like you can always choose. When you go to the coffee shop, you can order everything on the menu. They will take your money. But I think you have to be careful and selective because, you can't physically carry all of those coffees. I've tried to carry them. It's very difficult. But yeah, I think when you're choosing tools, it's important to think about, is this going to be additive or should I actually be taking away? Like, what would help me in the simplest form? And for me, I can tell you in the last year, I've kind of gone analog. So a little difficult to see on the Zoom, but I'm using just paper and pencil because I want to be able for my own work to manage it and have it with me everywhere I go. But I have a number of digital apps. And then for your teams, though, I think sometimes you do need to figure out how you're going to collaborate. And sometimes that is adding a little bit of complexity. But then ask yourself, is this complexity helping us with the goals? So I don't want to dwell on this topic because there's a couple demos that we have planned. And I think it's time to get started. Take a look at all of these choices. This is kind of where Sheila and I were thinking about taking this presentation. About 4 weeks ago, we started working on it, and we came up with lists of things that we have used or would like to show, and then we thought, this is a lot. So why don't we just focus on the left side of the slide, maybe go through 3 or 4 of these, and what we've done for you is we've created an Airtable database where you can go and kind of shop. It's like a card-based view, and you can find out, what did we like about the tools? What were the features? What are the key differentiating things that would make you want to choose that tool? It's very much our opinion, but this is collaborative. So later, after this presentation, feel free to go and write your own thoughts and feelings about these tools that we've selected. We've also included affiliate codes, so you can try most of these for free or very, very low cost. So these are the tools we were thinking we might talk about on the left. And the next slide, let's see, we won't be talking about these tools. And I think this was just, I wanted to make sure people in the chat know that we are aware that this is not even the beginning of thousands of tools that are out there. So this is where I'm asking you to put in the chat, what have you loved using as a collaboration tool? But I used Trello for about 5 years with my volunteer team. I've mentored about 200 people entering the field of clinical research in the last 5 years. And I want to hear how you use it professionally, Sheila. So tell me a little bit about Trello.